Now you know how the use effect works and how you can manage the side effects inside it. We have seen only one state though, but you generally have multiple states in a regular program. And in such cases, let's check what is the behavior of use effect. I will add one more state here, the flag one, which we have been looking at. So I'll say use state, and this is going to be true. Set flag or change flag, whatever, and I'll name this as flag. Also with CNT, let's also display the value of flag, whatever the value is, and we will just say toString with the flag. Let's also put a separator here, a dash maybe. We'll also have a button which changes the value of flag. So here I can say set flag, and as usual we are going to negate the expression. So, and this is going to be toggle. So when I click on this toggle, it's going to change the flag and increment will change the counter. Now let's add the use effect here. I'll say use effect, the arrow function. I'll put a console. Let's say use effect called. Let's also display counter, or rather we take another counter. I'll say the global counter maybe, and that I'm going to use here. I'll say the global counter should be 0 when we begin, and then it will increment also. Why I am taking a global counter, that you will see in a moment. Now let me just refresh this. As you can see, it says that the effect is called and the value is 0. If I click on increment, the global counter is 1. If I click on toggle, the global counter is 2. I wanted to have a separate counter just to see that even the toggle button or increment changes the counter. So we do not want the same counter. That's the reason why I have taken a separate counter. Again, I'll repeat this process and you will see that every time the use effect is called. So the use effect is called every time there is a re-render. Any state you change, it is going to call the use effect. Now imagine you have a lot of process defined inside the use effect, and there will be situation where you do not want that the use effect should be called for all the state changes. Now in some cases, every render calling use effect may not be required, or at least you can stop in some cases. In class-based component, you had code something like this. So if there is no change in the state value, the effects are not applied. Well, you have even easier syntax with use effect. The syntax we have seen so far takes one arrow function, but it also takes one more optional array as parameter like this. If the state mentioned in this array is not changed, React will skip the effect. Let's try this practically. In this case, I want that only when the counter changes, the use effect should be called. So for mFlag, we are skipping the effect call when the render is executed. So now observe this. I click on the increment, the use effect is still getting called and we are seeing the message at the bottom. But if I click on this toggle, if you observe, there is no effect called. Again, I click on increment, so it starts from the 6. You see this? This is the difference. Whenever you feel that you want to optimize your code, you can use this syntax which actually skips few states. So in a way, you are skipping the effects on your choice by giving the list of states here. Remember, we just have given one state, but you can add a comma and you can give multiple states. So only for those states which you have mentioned in this list will be watched for, and rest of the states are skipped for the effects. Now let's talk about questions. The first question is, how can you prevent use effect to be called for all states? The same question can be asked that how do you skip the use effect for specific states? So basically we have this second parameter where we give an array and we give list of all the states for which we want the use effect to be called. Like here we have used CNT. It is executing only for CNT. So the states which we do not mention here in the array, use effect will not be called for those states. That's how we prevent it.